Let's see. Okay. I think we are live. I think we are live. If you can all hear me, throw a one in the chat. Throw a one in the chat if you can hear me. And this is almost a continuation of last week's or a couple of days ago stream. We were talking about, make sure that you can hear me. Put a one in the chat. Welcome, Zone. I don't know what that struggle gave a. Okay. Welcome to the chat, man. If you can hear me, plus a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat before I go ahead and start. Like the stream says, tech layoffs in cybersecurity and more. So we're going to have a little bit of discussion about that, right? We're going to see if these tech layoffs are affecting cybersecurity professionals, cybersecurity companies, seeing how that applies there. Got a couple of things I want to go through, but also want to get some firsthand accounts of where we're seeing the most type of tech layoffs happening. Where are these tech layoffs happening, and how can it affect you as a cybersecurity professional? A lot of my audience are people who are newer to the field. A lot of my audience are people who are career transitioners, people who are brand new in their cybersecurity career. Oh my gosh, what the freak? What is that? No worries. Yeah, so a lot of people are new to the cybersecurity field, and we're going to go into some of what that actually is. So let me go ahead and start this out here, and we're going to go ahead and start the stream here. Let me take this banner down, and let's go ahead and start. Okay, Zone, you said 2. Nice. Welcome back to Struggle Security. We are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. Today, we're going to be talking about how tech layoffs are affecting cybersecurity professionals, if they are at all. And we're going to just get into a lot of this type of content. Feel free to throw any of your comments or questions or concerns inside of the chat. I'm here for you. And really, I use these live streams as a way to connect with my audience, people who have been watching my videos. So we got plenty of connection and plenty of content to go over today. So I'm just going to jump right into it. As everybody has seen on YouTube, with the news articles, on Yahoo News, everywhere, we've been seeing tech layoffs. And there's been this big issue within the tech field. And one thing that we're going to do is that we're going to kind of break it down a little bit here and see how this really affects the cybersecurity field. So we're going to go to a website to start off with. And it's called Layoffs.fyi. I don't know if you all have ever heard of that website, but it is a pretty dope website that kind of gives a lot of information about companies who have had most recent layoffs. Very much so because it's happening in tech. It is very prevalent. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. And we're going to go directly to that. Okay, so this is layoffs.fyi. Okay, it's a couple other people. Hemi Connor, welcome to the chat. You said that you can hear, and you said cybersecurity freshman here, currently taking network-based classes. Later, I will be taking security-based. Holy crap, is it a lot of info to learn? Absolutely it is. Man, I am telling you, early in my cybersecurity journey, so I actually went from electrical/nuclear engineering to cybersecurity. Right, it was very different because in my undergrad I was very much so used to like electromagnetism, calculus 3 kind of circuits, and just electricity and nuclear as a whole. But jumping into cybersecurity, that's when you got into a lot of what you're taking right now, those network, right? IP addresses, MAC addresses, address resolution protocol, internet protocol, understanding the HTTP protocol, all of these type of things and all of these type of communications that happen on the internet or happen within networks, and then translating that to how to protect those things and how to attack those things. So I am right there with you, or I was definitely there early in my cybersecurity career going through a lot of that material. But yeah, it's a lot to learn. But once you start to kind of niche down, once you start to kind of pick an area that you want to be focused in, whether it's offensive or defensive cybersecurity, then you can really start to specialize and focus in on the areas that you find interesting. So it might feel like it's a lot now, but eventually, once you start to kind of really drill down what you want to do in the field, it'll become a lot more clear. It'll become a lot more clear. So just want to say that. So but yeah, best of luck and best wishes on all of your studies. If you have any more questions, feel free to throw them down in there in the chat, because I think that this will be something that applies to you. Right now, you said that you're a freshman, so maybe in about 2, 3, 4 years, you might be in looking for a job, or maybe even now. Actually, I got something for you. Absolutely right now. I think I got something for you, and that's why I say I am here for people who are let me see, who are listening. There is an internship that I saw that someone posted on LinkedIn. I think it was today. Um, Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I think it was like an internship. Yes, here it is. Here it is. Let me post this in the chat. Actually, let me share it first with everybody. Let's just take a little quick aside. Let's take a little quick. Let's take a little quick aside, and we're going to get into it. And welcome again, Free Zone Lou. Welcome to the chat. Thank you for coming through. Speaking about you being a freshman, you might be able to apply to this today. Let me go ahead and share this out with you. And this is a summer internship with Hershey, with the Hershey company. You know, the company that makes chocolate. They have a summer internship program that they have coming up. And here, let me zoom in a little bit more for you. Actually, let me take and throw that link in the chat, or at least I'll throw it in there after I kind of go through it. So right now, a lot of companies are looking for summer interns. They're looking for summer interns for their organizations. And Hershey, like I said, the chocolate company, they're looking for an intern, security engineering intern. And like it says, it's an internship, so anybody can apply. And what's so good about this too is that they are open to remote work here. So it's the location is in Hershey, Pennsylvania. This wasn't the remote one that I found, but I can look for the remote one too, because they have one in cyber threat intelligence too. So it says, why information services at Hershey? The information services department at Hershey Company open internships for analytically minded, tech savvy undergraduates and graduate students. So this, Hemi Connor, this applies directly to you. And you get into some of the things that you'll be doing there. They're looking for people, security engineering responsibility, design and build, responsibilities, identify opportunities for continuous improvement. I mean, this is very early level. A firm understanding of foundation. Listen, look at this. What did you say you were studying? What did you say you were studying? A firm understanding of foundational network and security concepts. Hemi, this is you. This is for you to apply to. Proactive, self-started with desire to make impact, courage to challenge. Listen, this is all a 3.3. Hopefully you have this GPA, and it says preferred. So even if your GPA is lower than this, I'm sure that you will still apply for this. But yeah, those are all the qualifications for you to be able to apply to this internship. And all they're looking for are undergraduate students. So I'm gonna post this within. Oh, here's another one. This is the one that I found that was also remote, was open to remote work. So this one is for what it says, an intern for their cyber defense internship, right? So cyber defense. Oh, let's go. Let's go. Hey, what's up, Black Dev 21? Welcome. You said you got a 3.7. Listen, this applies to you. This one is the one that I thought that was pretty cool, because this one says that it is also open to either you're in Hershey, Pennsylvania, or even remote work. So this is a cyber threat intelligence internship with Hershey. And again, like developing and mature the threat intelligence technology capabilities, tactics, techniques. even having a knowledge of SIMs, right? Security incident and event management systems, Power Python and PowerShell, just having a knowledge of that type of stuff, having some experience with Linux and Windows, right? So you might even be on a Windows machine right now, or you might have messed around with Kali Linux a little bit, right? That's that cybersecurity that cybersecurity Linux distribution, and that's all. So here I'm gonna post both of these. Let's see if I press apply. I'm gonna post both of these summer internship opportunities, Hershey Cyber Internships. I'm gonna post that one. I'm gonna post both of these to the chat because I think that this greatly applies to you and your experience. And I think that that's one thing that's super valuable about this cybersecurity and tech field is getting internships, getting some level of experience even before you jump into the field. So those are the two internship. I'm going to look at the chat really quickly because I see that y'all are rolling. But these are some of the opportunities out there, and I just saw this there. But and congrats on the 3.7. I remember, I might have had a 3.7 after my first year of undergrad, and you said that you maintaining that. So listen, congratulations. I would heavily encourage you to apply to these summer internships role and even more. So getting more of your foot in the door where you might even be coming out of undergrad with experience already, putting you a leg up on your peers. So, that's something. Does Hershey give free chocolate as a They might. I'm sure they do. Like, this is literally right there in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Right there in Hershey, Pennsylvania. So I'm sure that you have access to all of their environments. Okay, let's go over a couple of more comments here. What is this saying? It said, I'm currently working as a network specialist for the Texas state government and studying for my Security Plus. How much job experience would I need for applying to cybersecurity jobs? I think that you can apply now. It just depends on how much experience. So I would say, I don't know, six months to a year, and then you might be able to start applying for other roles. I mean, the fact that you're already working as a network specialist and you're working for a government agency and you're going for your Security Plus, a lot of that are the prerequisites to many type of entry level or security analyst type of role. So I would say start applying now and kind of building up that network where recruiters can reach out to you and let you know more of what those details are about what you need before you can get into those roles. But I say, man, start applying right now, Jarrell. I say start applying right now, because that's one thing too, is that a lot of government agencies, they're still kind of towards the subject, right? These cybersecurity layoffs or tech layoffs. Many government agencies are not slowing down in their hiring process. They're still bringing people in. So, they're not necessarily affected the same way as these tech companies are affected. And again, these are those internships that I just posted here. What did AO say? Jarrell, you have a foundation. I just learned SIM tools and do labs. So when you speak about SIM tools, you're talking about things like Splunk. Hopefully you don't run into this, but McAfee EPO. So those are two type of SIM tools, a security incident and event management system tools that you could just learn the basis of, right? So learning SSPL, Splunk processing language is I think what it stands for. So learning the SPL language to be able to develop your own threat detections. And I have a video coming out on that too with this upcoming week. So look out for that. Jarrell said, oh, when I have an associate. Oh, listen, go ahead and apply right now. You are like having an associate's degree in cybersecurity, having network specialist experience, being able to having a Security Plus cert. Even if you're studying for it, you can also put that on your resume to say, hey, I'm studying towards a Security Plus cert, and this is my expected time of getting that. I say throw it all in there. I say go all for it, and you should apply right now to cybersecurity roles. Hemi said the only thing that have a bit apprehensive is I feel they're asking for way more than I know. Listen, Hemi, all right. Let me go ahead and level with you, right? Most of these job postings and offerings, they're putting on these job roles or these job postings, they're putting everything that they want. This is like their wish list. Imagine you putting a list together, right? Maybe a bad analogy for like Santa or something, right? You putting everything that you want on that list. You put in like the Xbox, you put in the PS5s, you put in the games, you put in the televisions, you put in the laptops and the phones and everything. That's what they're doing for many of these job postings. they know that they're not going to get every single thing within one candidate. So a lot of it is best is what they really want, or everything that they want. But the fact that you don't meet every single thing, if you see that you meet the majority of those things, I would say apply. I would say apply, because nobody is going to get every single thing that they want in a candidate. I mean, I've seen crazy job postings that are for entry level roles, and they're talking about 5 years of experience. Just crazy stuff. That's what they want, but they know that the reality of it isn't really what they want. So I would say apply to these internship roles anyway. And really, what these internships and co-ops are really to train and for you to learn. You're not really associated with a particular line of business. You're not really there to generate work and generate business for the organization. You're primarily there to learn and to get acclimated with the cybersecurity field. And then also looking at for potential full-time employment after you get out of school. So that's really the main purpose of these internships. So I would say to apply anyway. Everybody kind of saying, hey, Hemi, do you mind taking some time off stream and maybe help me with a resume? Absolutely. Hit me up. Hold on one second. Let me do this. Let's see. What's the best way? Hit me up on my LinkedIn. This is like just take my name and throw it in the LinkedIn. Connect with me on there, and I will accept the request, and we can talk more about that. Man, I might even have you apply to some roles within my organization. We always looking for summer interns. I don't know about this year. We'll see what happens if I hear anything, but let's connect offline, connect on LinkedIn, so I can talk to you even further about some of these particular roles. Hey, what's up? This is my lovely wife, Tia. Tia, welcome to the chat. Tia. Thank you for coming through. Let's see. Professor Black Ops, welcome as always. You always come through and support. Thank you for being here. We haven't even gotten to the subject yet because we're having so much interaction in the chat. Let's go. Keep throwing things down in there. Gonzo just said, I just finished my associates in cybersecurity, but also need my internship for the degree. Gonzo, apply to this role too. Apply to this internship role. I put 2 of those roles here for Hershey, but this is around the time in which many organizations are looking for summer interns in cybersecurity or tech as a whole. So this is the time, if you're looking for an internship, to apply to these roles right now. You can search on LinkedIn, Indeed, Dice. You can go on all these different websites to look for roles. So definitely. Professor Blackoff said Elk Stack is open source. Is an open source sim. Absolutely. You can download a Linux distribution called Security Onion, and that already comes with Elk installed. You might have to do some configuration with it, or you can install just a basic Elk Stack on your local machine, whether Windows or Linux or Mac. But I know with Security Onion, it already has Elk already on there. So that'll be very helpful for you building up some of those security, incident, and event management skills, like they were mentioning earlier. Clay, hey, what's up? Welcome to the chat. What's up, Maddox? Welcome. Hit the likes, just like he said. Welcome. Cool. Thanks. Anytime, man. And throw more of your courses in there if you have any. But I'm telling you, Jarrell, I say apply right now. With an associates in cybersecurity, you got already professional experience. I mean, that's just, you are really going in the direction of a logical progression into cybersecurity. So it makes a lot of sense. Everybody's saying hello and salute. You said, so they are just throwing out a wide net and to get the best they can for. Yes, that's exactly what companies do, because many of these job descriptions are written by people within human resources. It's not always by people who are managers or hiring managers. So they are putting every single requirement, every single thing into the job description, but they're not really focusing it on the things that are necessary to do the role. So I say apply even if you close. Gonzo said, I also started working on my BS, maintain at 3. That's why I said apply for these Hershey interns. Apply for these Hershey internships. I just saw it on LinkedIn. I saw the person who was. If I can find the dude who was hiring for it, I might put his name. I'll look for them whenever I get a chance, and I'll throw that in the chat. Absolutely, Hemi. Yes, anytime. Elk Stack. Maddox said Elk Stack is what I use to get my CYSA cert, right? So Cybersecurity Analyst Plus cert. So the Elk Stack is very helpful in that, and it can be something that you can utilize to put in detections. You could put YAR rules. You could put snort rules. Like, you can put everything within everything within the Elk stack, and it stands for Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana. So it's kind of three different tools that work together to give you visibility into environments and for you to be able to kind of configure things to be able to find malicious activity in networks and systems. So it's really cool. And again, like I said, it already comes installed on Security Onion, but you can also install it here. I'm not going to go into it because I know Elk has a huge GitHub and they have a lot of different resources out there, but I would say look that up. Akin, welcome. High Struggle family. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the chat. Tech security. Should we be applying if we have no experience but have certs like security? Yes. Still apply. Still apply, because still within cybersecurity, there is a shortage. There's definitely a shortage of talent. There is a shortage of individuals who are able to help to protect against the emerging threats today. So I would say still apply to those roles. And even for experience, you can put things like projects. So say, for instance, like they were mentioning in the chat, to get experience with the Elk stack. So say, for instance, you download the Elk stack onto your machine, you configure them to find different vulnerabilities and find different things within networks and systems, and you deploy it on your own home network, and then you analyze what comes in. That's a project that you can put on your resume as some type of experience there, right? So, and I've interviewed plenty of people that have already had projects as experience, but I haven't had exactly professional experience as experience. So I would say apply anyway, but try to build up some of your projects. So not only that, but another project could be you participating in a Capture the Flag event. So there's a very popular Capture the Flag event that happens every year. It's called Pico CTF, and it's free and open, and it's put on by Carnegie Mellon University. I would say to even participate in that. Participate in the Carnegie Mellon Pico CTF. Let's see if it says to learn and then compete. I'm trying to see. They even have a practice Pico gym where you can sign up for the Pico CTF, and you can go through some of the challenges there. And you can put that on your resume that, hey, I participate in cybersecurity Capture the Flag events, and one was the Pico CTF, and this is where I ranked in it. And you can learn and practice even by yourself. So I got to log in. But like I said, like you can compete and everything. So these are some things that you can put on your, if you don't have experience or professional experience in cybersecurity, you can put projects like CTFs and setting up different infrastructure in your own home environment as experience. And as long as you're able to talk to it, you have that, that'll be something that'll be very valuable as you're applying and you're interviewing. So I would say to do that. JM, welcome, JM. He says, I know that we are just numbers of these 500 Fortune tech companies. Do you encourage people to do entrepreneur or start their own companies in tech? Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you can start things like doing like computer repair services. I know that, or you can volunteer for different organizations. I did a video on cyber, like the elderly as being a cybersecurity threat, or the elderly as being like a vulnerable group of individuals to cybersecurity threats. And many people within the chat, they were giving me information about saying, hey, you can volunteer for certain things. So I know with the, let's see, AARP cybersecurity, they have a voluntary service that you can do and that you can also put on your resume as experience. I don't know exactly where it is. I know they have awareness courses, but they also have volunteer or opportunities too. I'm looking for it. If I can find it, I'll make sure to cover it in our next one because it's a little impromptu right now. But yeah, I would say, yeah, going into entrepreneurship, doing voluntary opportunities, finding like I think that's one thing about cybersecurity and just tech as a whole is that solutions is what really drives the industry. So if you're able to solve a problem, if you're able to integrate technologies, if you're able to find a way to help people more in some way, shape or form, whether it's entrepreneurship, whether it's working for of like JM is saying, a Fortune 500 company, whether it's doing your own consultation services, these are all working towards giving people help or helping out in solving problems. So I think as long as you're doing that, man, like I think that's super duper valuable to not only yourself, but the field as a whole. And it'll be also valuable to people looking for individuals to employ, even during these struggle tech times. So Hemi said that video gave me an idea on a company I can start. Listen, hey, it's up to you, right? Because it's so and I'm happy that gave you an idea, because that's really the purpose of me putting out a lot of this type of material, is for us to really start to get our brains kind of crunching and our minds starting to working towards really being able to help some of the underserved groups and underserved communities like the elderly, um, as critical infrastructure. So yeah, man. Okay, we haven't even got into what I wanted to talk about today, but let's get into it. Let's jump into it, because I think we're having such great conversation right now. There's about 21 people in the chat. If you all could hit the like button. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you can get more and more of this type of content. But let's get into it, because we're talking about layoffs. That's what we were starting to talk about. Okay, let me stop sharing that one, and then let me get into this here. And we're starting with the layoffs.fyi. Layoffs.fyi here. Like I said before, this is a website that kind of goes over where some recent layoffs are. Let me zoom this in for your viewing pleasure. Zoom into this. And it kind of goes over all these different companies. Actually, let me start with the company layoffs. And I have it sorted on a couple of different fields here, by date and by alphabetical order. I think I have it. Okay. So let's look at some of these, right? So when you're looking at date, this is literally last Friday, this past Friday, from 210 Rigetti. I don't even know what that company is, but let's look at TikTok India. That's one that a lot are familiar with. And then they have the sources for the companies too, which I think is super valuable, so that you can go to what some of these articles are. Let me see. It talks about, oh my gosh, it said that TikTok shut down their India operations. They just shut them down completely. Let's look at this one that's here. It's from the Mint, and it looks like it's just titled, let's see, latest. Oops, I'm having some issues with this one. Let me go back a little bit. I want to go directly to that link. It's from this Live Mint link. Let me copy that. I'm trying to copy it. Actually, let me just share it over there. Let me share this article. It talks about how TikTok just shut down, and this is from this past Friday. Look, it says TikTok shuts down India operations and sacks all employees. The Chinese video app TikTok has reportedly fired its entire Indian workforce. Right, according to the report, the Economic Times, the ByteDance own applications have given pink slips to 40 people. So they had a 40-person operation in India, and they just let them all go. I mean, this is sheesh. ET said that TikTok employees in India were told that February 28th would be their last day in the company, and we're giving feelers to look out for opportunities. Sometime, as it was conveyed, that restarting operation in India was not going to take off because government stance on Chinese apps. Okay, so there look like there are some other type of efforts that are pushing this, right? So it looks like the government stands on Chinese applications. So that might not necessarily be just aligned with the big tech layoffs here. So I do want to say that, but that's something that this website, the layoffs.fyi, it gives those articles and gives some context to what's actually happening. But I did want to bring this up because I did want to bring our attention to a couple of different things. Because one thing that I've been hearing from, whether on YouTube or whether a lot of these articles, they've been saying like, hey, technical people are not being laid off, right? They're saying technical people are not being laid off at all, that these layoffs only affect or primarily affect like the product security, program managers, project managers, HR staff, recruiters, that's who it's affecting, and it's not hitting the technical people. And I'd like to say, not necessarily. It depends on the organization. And kind of from a lot of my research, I found that really it's been cost cutting. Cost cutting is the primary driver and the factor in this. And it's not, and I don't think that it's only for non-technical or tech adjacent type of roles. So So this has a drill down here of a list of employees laid off. Now this is from people who report this from like LinkedIn or other different sources. Let me look at the chat really quickly as I'm going forward. I think I saw this one already. To apply, I saw that one. Hemi said the video gave me okay. And James said, I noticed that a lot of these tech companies are starting to use a lot of the term seasonal employment when they post it. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. I didn't know about that. Okay. So kind of getting into this thing that not only non-technical roles in tech companies are at risk, but I would say even technical roles. And it really depends upon a cost-cutting factor. So let's look into one of these. I do want to share this. And this is from DoorDash. So DoorDash, they have this list of individuals who have been fired. I kind of want to go over this list. I'm going to be doing some zooming and some moving it around because this is like an Excel spreadsheet. It makes it a little bit difficult if it's small. So we kind of list out individuals, right, and their role within their previous role within DoorDash. So one thing that we can see here is that we can see that individuals like recruiters, right? So you see a recruiter here was laid off, which is typical to what we've been hearing. But then you see something like a data scientist, somebody who was a data scientist, they were let go. Vamsi, right? And then they even have their LinkedIn profiles because again, like I said, this is kind of they give all of their they give all this information as it concerns individuals who used to work at these companies. And let's just go to that person's profile. I don't mean to put them on blast or anything, but they kind of put that out there on LinkedIn because I think this is from like a web scraper or something. And you see here that this person is a data scientist that they have in their profile that they're open to work, right? A data scientist at DoorDash. And this individual has been with DoorDash as a data scientist for more than a year and a half or a year and 3 months. So again, as it concerns these ideas that individuals who are getting laid off are just tech professionals or just non-tech professionals, it's just not a true statement. We're seeing individuals within a lot of different practices that are being let go. Let's take a look at several more because I don't want to just zoom in on that one. We see someone who is a product marketer, which kind of aligns with exactly what we were saying before. A BBOT account manager, a lead tech sourcer. That's like a recruiter, senior recruiter. So that's also a line. Strategy and operations manager. So we see someone into upper management. Let's look at some of these other roles. Senior employee relations manager, another data scientist, and then a product manager, another data scientist here, right? Senior business product, senior business recruiter, partner marketing manager, technical resourcer. Let's keep going down to look at some of these other ones. Senior manager, enterprise partners, strategy and operations recruiter, senior software engineer. And this person is a senior software engineer who had got laid off. Staff software engineer, strategic finance manager, senior associate. And this is from DoorDash. And DoorDash had a massive layoffs too, right? Let's look at another organization that I had saw. Let's look at I think I saw Meta. Meta had a large list too from this website. And this is interesting here too. Let's zoom in some more. And we're just going to look at what some of these roles were. Yeah, they're laying off. Okay, so we see here. Oops, let me zoom in more. It's going to scroll here. But we're starting to look at the roles. These are individuals in engineering, product engineers, software engineers, software engineers, software engineer, front-end engineer, full stack, software. These are research scientists, right? And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that it's a data engineer, a machine learning engineer, software engineer. And they have the dates here. This all happened in November 9th, November 10th, November 11th of 2022. Director of ASIC development, software engineer. So again, like I mentioned, I don't think this is just only aligned with people who are non-technical. I think the majority of those roles have been technical within certain organizations, but I think it's just primarily a cost cutting thing. So I wouldn't say this is anything to be afraid of or scared of, because I'm sure many of these individuals are now employed at other places. I can even do a couple of examples. Let's look at a couple of examples here. Let's look at a couple of examples, because not only does it have who they are, but it also has their LinkedIn profiles. So let me see. So certain individuals are still open to work. Is what I'm seeing. Let's see. Let's see about this individual. Yeah, some people have moved on. I'm seeing someone who was a software engineer. They seem to be kind of early in their experience. And here, let me share this. They seem to be a bit early in their experience, and now they've moved on to another organization. Let me just share the entire window so we can just go from there. Okay, let me zoom in here so you all can see this is someone from that particular list that it says here, right? It said that they were working as a software engineer for Meta for 3 months, if you can see that. And this says now they're with a completely different company as a software engineer. Let's look at another one, right? I'm just about to tab it up here. I'm gonna have a whole lot of tabs for you all to take a look at. Let's look at another US person. We're opening this up. This individual, they still haven't put that down, but they were previously with Facebook for a year and a half. Now they were with Meta for a year and 5 months or so. So some people have moved on. Some people are still kind of, trying to get their footing and whatnot. Let's see. I'm just clicking random ones. Just clicking random ones here. This person is still looking, right? So, and they even put ex Meta here. So they were a software engineer, but previously they were with Apple. So, I don't think that people are completely out to dry. And listen, they'll find another job. They'll definitely find another job. So, but I guess I just bring that up to say that it hasn't only just been non-technical roles. It's been also people who are software engineers and very technical in their experience. But don't only take my word for it. Let's take a look at some other things. I have a couple of other things here. I want to hear from people that have been laid off, because there's been kind of like a surge of individuals who not only have been laid off, but they starting to go to YouTube to tell about what their experiences have been, and we're going to take at those experiences, and we're going to start off here. Let me share my screen. Hold on, let me take a look at the chat. It says, I noticed. Okay, I think I already read that. John, welcome. It says, salute to the chat and Gabe. Yeah, welcome. It seems like everybody's listening in. Feel free to throw something in the chat if you all have any questions or concerns. We just kind of going through several things right now about what's happening with the tech layoffs. And let's take a look at this. So this person, she had got laid off from Microsoft. And let's see. Let's go over this here. Let's go ahead and play this. Let's see what's the best way to do it. You can do it like this. Okay. She got the sad face and everything. And again, like I said, a lot of people, and I believe her role, she was a project manager. So let's go ahead. I'm just gonna blow it up. Let me see if I'm sharing it correctly so we can hear the audio too. Yes, we can hear this audio. Okay, let me play it. And I think the thing that we want to zoom in on here is that what roles were people working in? Because I don't think it's completely just everybody, but a lot of people that have been going to YouTube, they've been working in particular roles. So from Microsoft.
One member on our team, Alan, who was just extremely knowledgeable about the code base, and him and my manager were just a covalent bond. You could not separate.
Let's start here.
That being said, I think there are some trends that I've seen. Take all of this with a grain of salt because it's just my opinion, not definitive data-driven information. But I have noticed that a lot more non-technical roles are being affected than technical roles. It might be more likely to be laid off if you're in a PM or a marketing or a writing role rather than a software engineering role. But again, that doesn't always hold. My role was pretty technical and yet still got laid off. Another.
And I think that that's valuable, right? She's saying that she's thinking, and from her opinion, she thinks that those are the majority of roles that she sees that people are being laid off from, rather than software engineers. But I mean, I think it's a mixed bag. I do think that there's probably more that are on the recruiter, marketing, advertising, project management, program management. But I think, again, like I mentioned, cost cutting. If your role is very far away from where the money is, if you are working on a technology that's not necessarily directly tied to revenue, if you're not earning in like a sales role or something, right, that makes it a little bit more difficult to justify these high salaries for you, right? So it can be a bit difficult. I think it is a bit of a mixed bag. So I would say even like a software engineer that might have been working on, let's just say, a depreciating technology within a technology company. If you're working on a depreciating technology, something that's not really revenue generating, maybe something that's research and development, I think you'll be a bit more inclined to having your role you separate from that organization than somebody working on, let's just say, Google search, which is literally one of Google's primary revenue generating products. So let's hear a little bit more of what she's saying, because she gives some very good information.
Commonality is if your role is costing the company money or is not producing revenue, if it's a part of a speculative investment, maybe they're trying to test out a new feature that doesn't yet produce revenue, or maybe a product that is weaning in growth. So for example, for Microsoft, the Internet Explorer team at Microsoft did have layoffs. So any declining product with that.
There we go. I really don't even remember this video, but she's literally saying exactly what I had just said. Depreciating products, like she mentioned, Internet Explorer. I think they're moving over to Edge or something, and she said that they've experienced a lot of layoffs within the Internet Explorer team. So, or depreciating products, things that are not revenue generating, like. And that's the thing, right? I think that's another thing that's been happening with these layoffs, is that companies are anticipating an economic downturn within the US. So they are almost kind of on their heels, and as a jerk type of reaction, they're like, in order for us to weather the storm, we need to be focused on what's generating revenue for our company. So that's, I think, another one of the drivers here is kind of what she's speaking about.
Might be affected more than others. The other thing that's interesting is that on my team, the newest members were cut on the team. I've also heard in other layoffs that the most senior person on the team is laid off because they're getting paid a bunch of money. So it sounds like it could go either way. If you think probabilistically, the likelihood of you getting laid off is low. But I'm just saying, if you are in an organization or a company that is really hurting, personally, I think it's better to jump ship beforehand so that you have control and it's not them pushing you out. It can be really
very interesting, because this kind of goes against one of the trends that we saw a while ago, right? Or goes for one of those trends. Do you all remember the whole trend of overemployment, where there was tech workers due to the pandemic everybody was being forced to remote work. And as a result of there being so much remote work, there was the overemployment trend saying that, hey, go ahead and get 1, 2, 3, maybe even 4 different remote tech jobs. And as a result of getting those jobs, you kind of shield yourself against unemployment. You shield yourself against being fired from companies, being fired from jobs. So I think that that's something that the overemployment might be able to help against doing this tech layoff apocalypse. So I think that that's very interesting. I did a video on that too. If you just look at my videos called Overemployment in Cybersecurity, I have one from the archives on that. So I think that's very interesting, kind of what she's saying here.
Really unclear who decides who gets laid off. I've spoken with other hiring managers, and there seems to be more
Mhm.
layoffs coming, at least for Microsoft, although no one really knows for sure. So that's why I made these videos, because we need to start having conversations about what it's like, what to expect for folks who still have jobs, what they can do differently. This video is if
Mhm.
you still have a job, learning from things that I wish I had done differently, things that I've learned. And then there's a second video for folks who have already gotten laid off about actionable things you should do during your 2 weeks of access, questions to ask your manager, just the emotional stuff that we went through. If you have any friends,
Very, very valuable information. She has another video that goes into resources and things that you can do after you've gotten laid off, which I think is very valuable. JM says maybe the senior techs should be given the option to stay, but they would receive a reduced salary. Then that's on them if they want to be unemployed. That could be a solution for organizations. Is that keeping low? But think about it though, right? If you're a senior technical resource, having your salary reduced for doing the same type of work, mm, that's a little bit. I think most people will find it kind of insulting, right? Because they're like, "You asked me to do the same thing for less money." No, I'm not doing that. I think that they'll be more inclined to letting go of that senior person and then repurposing some of their responsibilities for less senior people because then they're already paying the less senior person less money and they're completely removing that senior resources salary off the books. So I think that a lot of times management and leaders are more inclined to do that than, hey, do you want to get a reduced salary for a certain period of time? That would be probably interesting, but I think I don't. I've actually never seen that happen, JM. I've never seen that happen where they would say, "Hey, receive a lower salary for a certain period of time," and then later they'll just X you off. And when we're talking about salaries, what are we really talking about? This person from Microsoft, she said that she was laid off. She was a project manager. Let's see what some of those salaries. Let's go straight to levels.fyi because this is a very good website that gives good information about what salaries are they really getting off the books. So let's go to Microsoft and levels.fyi. It's a really good website and it gives information about, so these are like self-reported salaries for a lot of tech workers. So we're going to scroll down here and we see software engineers. It's kind of like one of the top ones, but we're looking at project management because this individual was a project manager and she mentioned that she had got laid off. So they have different levels for project managers. And these are the averages. These are the averages of what project managers get paid. So let's go. So there's different levels like 59, 60, 61, and 62. 59, I think, is more like entry level, like you're coming out of college or something along those lines. But let's look at the 60. Let's look at the 60. This is like someone who might be like mid-level or kind of early to mid type in their experience. And for a project manager at Microsoft, they're looking at a total compensation of 163K, right? And that's not including additional benefits, but that's base salary on an average of 131K, stock grant of 17.5, right? This is Microsoft stock that they're giving people. So this can fluctuate. This can be more or this can be less. This might be aligned to like where they currently are, but then they have an annual bonus too, like a performance bonus. And on average, someone at this level 60, L60 within Microsoft as a project manager, they're getting around $13,000 to $14,000 annually, coming to that 163. So these are the things that are coming off the books, right? They're getting off a whole 160 from the payment books. Now, if you're talking about more senior people, so someone who is like a senior project manager, listen, we really talk about the money here, right? We really talk about the bread here. Okay. We're looking at a base salary is 155K. So that's one thing that she was mentioning. Very senior people might be getting laid off to get those salaries off of the books. We're talking about 155K base salary. This is every two weeks they're getting a cut of this. A stock grant, right? Is they're at 21K, 21,250. And then they have a bonus that almost mimics that. So these are some of these. You're at almost 200K for somebody who might have a role as a project manager that might not necessarily be directly associated with the revenue generation resources and products of Microsoft. So that's where some of these tech layoffs are happening. Senior projects. Now, if you're talking at the top, the tippy top, the top of the project manager, I don't even think a lot of people have even said what their salaries are. Let's see. This is a little bit distributed, but let's look at like a level 64. You're talking 235. It could be 240. Talking about a base salary of 192. This is what they're getting off the books. These project managers, these program managers. I think program managers even make even more than project managers. Let me go to that. A TPM, a technical program manager. Let's look at this track, and let's look at the top people. Principal technical program managers. Right? These folk from Microsoft, they're almost at 300K. They're almost at 300K here, right? We're getting almost a 200K base salary, $59,000 stock grant. This is Microsoft stock. Again, this can fluctuate. This can go up. This can go down. A bonus of almost 40K annually. So these might be some of these salaries that they're removing, these principal technical program managers. And this is Microsoft. Microsoft isn't even known to be the most paid for or the most the highest compensated organization. That's when you're talking about your Apples and your Googles. Now let's look at Google really quickly, and we'll take a look at that. Right, this is levels.fyi. Actually, let me go ahead and look at the chat. Ty, hey, welcome to the chat, man. It's been a while. Hey, what's up? Sister Lou, welcome. Salute. Me and Lou have been having some conversations. I always send him some little videos here or there about some stuff that I've been looking at. So yeah, welcome Lou. Salute. Context NOP, welcome to the chat. And you said Meta. Okay, so you're giving a quote for Meta. Working on flattening our org structure and removing some layers of middle management to make decisions faster. And you said, I agree. Glad to finally see Meta catch up to the real world. No more managers. Whoa, I'm a manager. Slow down. Whoa, slow down. Listen, slow down. We need managers now. We do need managers. Don't try to X us all out. Okay, you still need managers. You still need leaders within organizations. Don't try to X me off. Okay, don't try to put me in the guillotine yet. Okay. If now I would say, listen, if I'm in an area that's not directly related to, he said, step up and become a director. That's the goal. that's the goal, to step up and become it. But don't cut my head off yet. Okay, I work for a technology consulting firm as a manager. I have a team, but listen, I'm still needed, right? I'm still needed. Managers are still needed within organizations. So slow down. But yeah, the goal is definitely to step up and become a director. Ty said, yes, sir. It's a long time. How's the fam? Doing really good. I took a little bit of a break. We had a baby. We had our first child not too long ago, Ty. So, man, I took a little bit of break from YouTube. So happy that you're here, though. Absolutely. No, context and OP. Listen, he trying to chop my head off. Okay, he trying to take all managers out of here. He trying to get us up out of here. Okay. He trying to do this. He trying to unplug managers from this thing. Slow down. Okay, we're not going nowhere yet. We still valuable, but kind of to the point. We're going to just look at Google really quickly, and then we're going to get into some more of what people are saying as it concerns them getting laid off, because a lot of these people have started to go over to YouTube and started making channels. Let's see. I'm going to go let's go to the overview. And this is levels.fyi. This is like a self-reporting salary website that a lot of people go to report what they're making for these companies. So this is another role, program managers. So program managers are also one of these roles that we've been seeing that people are getting laid off from. And again, Google is one of the top reporters or top compensating organizations. And it's so interesting because like a L4, right? A L4 Google program manager, that's not even senior. Right, that's like mid-level career, and they already pulling in 213K. They're already pulling in 200. They got a base of 140, 50K in stock, 23K in bonus, pulling in 230. But you're talking about tippy top. You talk about the L6s and the L7s. These are the lifers. The L7s. Imagine if you're having salary difficulties, right? If you're having revenue difficulties within your organization, and you have a chance to knock off a $500,000 earner, okay? And that's one thing that's been happening. Some of these very senior people who have been with Google for 10 or 15 years or so, they've been losing their jobs as well. You're talking somebody who's making a base of 240, stock grant of 180, 188, almost 190 on average. Because there's more and there's some less, somebody bringing in a bonus of 72K, and they even show them here, right? Some people are even above that. This person is at 586K, who's doing artificial intelligence and machine learning. I don't think this person is going anywhere. This is a 28. This person probably started the whole program. Okay. They've been with Google for 9 years. Like, okay, so this person is 266 base, 230. It almost matches their base salary. Their stock almost matches their base salary and an 85K bonus annually, especially with artificial intelligence coming up. It's no question that this person is heavily employable. But imagine if you're bringing in a program manager who might be working on, I don't know, a depreciating Google product that nobody's really working on anymore. Taking off that $500,000 off the books. Listen, you could take a $500,000 off the books if you're having financial difficulty. That becomes, hey, if they're not directly tied to your revenue, that becomes almost an easy decision. So, and this is, again, a program manager, a senior staff program manager. Okay. Let's look at some other people who have been mentioning that they have been getting laid off. Let's look at some of what those roles are. Let me pull up another one. I got a whole list of them here, but feel free to throw anything into the chat if you guys have any questions. Oh, I'm seeing some other people coming through. Let's see. Dollar Watch said, I'm heading straight for AI. Yeah, man. That's where it is. Artificial intelligence. Listen. John said, yeah, man, you trying to cut my head off, man. Listen, here we go. Listen, if the managers has a direct influence on the priorities of the organization, I think it's worth it. It's worth it. Thank you. That's my only point. Okay, we need to increase efficiency for our ICs. Absolutely. We all need to be efficient. We all need to bring value to an organization. Otherwise, we're just there. We're just collecting a paycheck and we're not adding value and impact to the organization. I'm always looking to add value, man. I feel like I'm politicking to keep my job, the context, NOP. Like I feel like I'm politicking. I'm telling you, it's very important. And I think that that's something that we all should do. Those who are in tech and cybersecurity, who are in these organizations, to find a way to add value to that organization in some way, shape, or form. If you're just going to your job on a day-to-day basis, you just kind of chugging out some product of work, you're just doing something, right? Not saying that that's bad, because some people have that. Some people are like, listen, I'm just here to do my job and go home. I don't know if that mentality really aligns with a tech layoff apocalypse. If you're within a tech organization and you're like, I'm just trying to get my job done, I'm just trying to do my work, it might be a little bit more difficult for you to justify your reason and your purpose for being within that organization. So I say, maybe, I don't know, fake it. I don't know. Do what you got to do to stay employed is really what I'm saying. But if you really need to be able to directly influence, like context says, priorities, and create impact within that organization, show some type of value. That's very important. Ty says, I'm working for the Fed now, but my status is, Fed. I'm working for the Fed now, but my status is sad. Ty, tell me more about that, man. Like, I don't know if you hit me up if you want. Send me a text message or something. I don't know what that means, but yeah, give me a little bit more context, man. Christiana Garcia, welcome to the chat. And you are showing literally the 0.0001. So those are the 0.001 people, but it has been reported that some of those 0.0001 people have been laid off. Right. But also those software engineers have some of those high salaries. They're within the 200 to 250K. So, some of them have been laid off, too. When I was looking at the Meta group, some of those engineers, it was a number of those engineers who had got laid off. So it might be the 0.0001% of earners within the United States, But within tech, it's a little, especially software engineering, it's a little bit the norm there. It's a little bit the norm, those tech salaries that are coming off of the books. So I definitely understand that your point there, Christian, sorry. I said Christiana. I definitely understand your point, but within tech, it's a bit more of the norm. So I think that 0.0001% goes a bit more higher when you're looking at what those salaries are. Yeah, John, that 585, but he's in artificial intelligence for that person that had mentioned that, or she. That person is going nowhere because Bard, which is Google's competitor with the Chat GPT, they're coming through. Bard is coming through. So don't worry. That 585 might go up to 1 million. You don't know. You don't know. It just might. Wire Dog. Welcome, Wire Dog. He says salute to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button. Please be sure to hit the like button. Context says all love. Absolutely. All love, man. All love, man. And definitely thank you for contributing to the chat, for putting something in there. Yeah. I don't have any problem having these conversations. He says, I'm so jealous looking at these salaries. Gonzo, I'm telling you, but it's possible. It's very possible for cybersecurity professionals. I don't know to get to that 600 unless you're like a CISO or something, or like a manager director for a firm or something. But I do think that you can get up there pretty well, especially if you're starting to dabble in overemployment. If you kind of stack one down, another down, and put them down together, and then you could be up there. So all in time, in time for sure. Yeah, real talk. Yeah, for sure. I can give me, yeah. Salute Gabe and everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Okay, let's look at a couple of more examples of individuals who have been working in tech who have been laid off. And I want you to tell me, and this isn't, I'm not trying to play her or anything. Let's see. This is the one I want to go to. Let's see if I can find this one. Let's see what this one is. Not that one. I'm choosing a different one. Let me find this. Give me 1 second. I have it up here right now. Okay. I'm about to share my screen. Uh-oh. A couple other people came through. DJ Cadillac with a full scope polygraph. Okay, TSSCI. Okay, DJ Cadillac, what you talking about? Are you talking about like a clearance or something? I think you are. Okay. You said TSS, so top secret SCI lifestyle poly will get you a 200 plus K. Absolutely. So, I think he was responding to you guys, though, is that within defense contracting and defense work, you can get up there, right? Within those 200 plus K type of roles, with some of these backgrounds or some of these clearances can really get you there. With a secret clearance, a top secret clearance, SCI, and when you say lifestyle poly, you talk about with a polygraph test. So there's a lot of, I guess, background checks and tests and psychological examinations and questioning that you have to go through in order to get some of those type of roles. But they are very possible for cybersecurity roles indeed. And then Context said, yep, I have a buddy clearing over 280K on the East Coast. Okay. So listen, it's very possible. So listen, don't fret. Don't feel down. Don't feel jealous. It is possible with the right skill sets, with some of the right clearances, with some of the right roles. You can definitely get up there too when you see some of those Google salaries. I definitely understand exactly how you feel. Let's see some other people join the chat. Michael said, with industry transitioning to remote, makes it easier for them to eliminate people that are damaging to their finances. And that's interesting, Michael. And welcome to the chat again. It's interesting about people who are, a lot of these tech organizations are going back to in office type of work. I know that there's been several times where organizations have reached out to me. Not that I'm looking to go anywhere, but organizations have reached out to me and they were like, yeah, we have this role here and it's based out of Seattle or it's based out of California. And I'm like, I'm not going nowhere unless it's remote. They're like, yeah, we're doing fully in office type of work now, because they've invested in a lot of their business. They've invested in a lot of their infrastructure. They've invested in kind of bringing a team setting, quote unquote, in-person team setting. So they are a lot of these tech organizations are looking to go back into the office, and a lot of them already are. I mean, you look at Apple. Apple only does. I don't even think Apple does remote work anymore. I don't think Google does remote work for bringing in new employees anymore. So a lot of them are still going back to the in-person. But I do think it is easier, like to your point, to eliminate people that are damaging to their finances because they're remote for sure. DJ Cadillac says, yes, the clearance brings huge sellers. Absolutely, they definitely do. That is true. Black Dub is agreeing with you as well. And Context said, boom. Professor Black Ops said, I had a secret clearance when I was with DOD. Absolute clearances, clearance life, defense contracted life. Absolutely. Probably takes about 2 years. Yeah, it does. It takes about 2 years and financial investment by the organization trying to bring you in. So if you're talking about being employed by a Booz Allen Hamilton or a Northrop Grumman or any of these consulting firms that have defense contracting or federal government aid or federal government divisions, they have to pay for those clearances and that background check for you. So it does take time and energy. Or if you are a military veterans, if you are currently serving, I would heavily recommend that you get clearances now. If you can be on some type of deployment, you can be on some type of role right now within as you are enlisted, it is heavily recommended that you get clearances because that can help you get into the tech field and get some of those cleared jobs where many of us civilians cannot get. That those will be dedicated to you. And also foreign nationals, they do not apply for a lot of these government and federal government roles. So it can make you a bit more competitive, and you'll just have your choosing. If you go on a website called usajobs.org, I believe, that website has so many different cleared positions or cleared.org, cleared roles that only individuals who have clearances can apply to. EJ Keller says, join the reserve. There we go. Listen, I didn't even hear him. I didn't even read that yet. And he's absolutely right. He says, join the reserves and get a tech MOS, and boom, you're in there. So you can join the military reserves, the Army reserves, and you can go ahead and get some clearances through that, because the government agencies, they very much so give you clearances when you work in certain roles. Absolutely. I'm not going to read that. Sanity. Okay. J.I. Sanity. That's what I'm gonna say. Trying to get my master's and teach at a community college. Absolutely. So that's another one in my overemployment role or overemployment video that I did. I was actually doing that. I was working full time as a senior cybersecurity consultant. But at the same time, I was teaching. I was teaching at university. I was teaching at UNLV, University of Las Vegas, at the same time. So I was overemployed. I was working 2 different jobs at once, and that was a lot for me. But the only requirement, the only prerequisite, just like you mentioned, was that master's degree. So yeah, you can definitely do that. And I think Professor Blackhouse has been teaching for years and years within organizations. So that's one thing that I think is very valuable too, if you're looking at doing the adjunct professorship type of roles. Many universities, community colleges are looking for people to jump in those type of roles for you to make some money. DJ Keller says they are phasing out remote. Yes, just like I mentioned. Yep, they're phasing out remote. You might get a hybrid. Like I see so many roles that say hybrid. I'm like, I ain't hybrid in nothing. Either I'm in that office or I'm not. I ain't hybrid in anything. Says you might want to get hybrid, but remote is drying up heavy. GitHub is still mostly remote. Absolutely. DJ Keller says it's my first time looking into cybersecurity. Do you know the steps that it will take? Absolutely. Yeah. Listen, it's many seasoned professionals within the chat. So if you guys have any questions, and if you all want to answer it in the chat, those people who have answers, feel free to do so. This is a community where we're trying to alleviate struggle. Even though it's struggle security, we're here to alleviate the struggle for people jumping into these type of roles. So absolutely, what he says, well said, Gabe, on the military security clearance. Air Force is highly respected, and they're very big on education. So that's one thing for sure. Yeah, it just sounded absolutely. Professor Black Ops has taught for 10 years or so. So feel free, if you have any additional questions for him, feel free to hit him up about that in the chat. And he also has his own channel. So go to his channel there. Feel free, Professor Black Ops, or anybody else who has YouTube channels, to drop your links into the chat so that you can have more conversations and check out some of their content as well. Black Heights, welcome, Black Heights. Thank you for coming through, man. It says tech sales beat cybersecurity any day. Chill out. Whoa, chill. Don't come in here with the tech sales stunt. Slow down. It says, just kidding. But selling cybersecurity, cyber software is a game changer for a career perspective. Absolutely, it is. And that kind of brings us back to one of the points that we addressed earlier is that the closer you are to the money, the closer you are to revenue generating roles within organizations, the least, the lesser chance it is for you to get laid off from an organization because you're needed. And in this time when many organizations are looking at this potential economic downturn that's coming up, they are really trying to maximize revenue and minimize all of the overhead. They're minimizing all of the additional and unnecessary roles. So tech sales is something that's absolutely necessary, especially enterprise software, enterprise technology sales, things that have multi-year contracts, things that have service contracts associated with it. I mean, things that make organizations run, make organizations go. I'm sure Microsoft isn't struggling in them selling, I don't know, Windows operating systems. They don't have any issues selling any of that, right? So I think that that's one thing that's extremely important. So even if you want to jump into tech sales, that's something that is very valuable within the tech industry, and you're very close to the money there. DJ Cadillac says, I have heard that Black Heights. I think it will be good. Absolutely. Everybody just kind of chatting here. He says, just subscribe. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing to him. Absolutely. Professor Black Ops puts out great material, and he kind of talks about his background too. Right. So right now, so many people have flooded into tech, and the entry level roles are hard to get or saturated. The best way to have a clearance and programming skills. Absolutely. Professor Black Ops dropped his chat. Anybody else? Black Heights, feel free to drop your link in the chat as well. Animation and automation. Can you just know a lot of languages? Let's see. Can just knowing a lot of languages set you apart or experience? I think it can in certain degrees. I know a lot of times if you get into like automation engineering, you're talking about like your DevSecOps or what are these other roles? There are several roles where automation engineering is super duper important to organizations. It kind of like maximizes efficiencies and kind of minimizes a lot of the manual processes. And that goes back to what we were talking about before. If you're bringing solutions, if you're solving problems for organizations, I think programming and automation can be something very valuable to a lot of organizations. I know even within industrial organizations, it's super duper important. Hemi says Black Hills. Oh my gosh, Black Hills is. Let me read it first. Black Hills InfoSec has great training for how it's presented, and the founder has a wonderful story. The cost is fairly cheap, and you can even email them. That's something that I think we need to do a whole live stream about, because Black Hills Information Security, I think they're one of like the least known gems on YouTube, and just as a whole for the cybersecurity community. They have so many different trainings. They put out great material every single week. I mean, their archive of cybersecurity resources is just unmatched, and many of them were SANS instructors, right? And SANS is a very reputable, I guess, cybersecurity training organization. So Black Hills InfoSec is absolutely lit. DJ Cadillac says, if I was just starting in tech, I would go the AWS route, focus on and master that. That's very possible, right? Many organizations are still doing cloud transformation services. They're really trying to go from on-prem and servers and all types of infrastructure to going into a cloud type of infrastructure. So it is very important. Cloud is definitely the future for most organizations. Oh man, TCM security. Yeah, TCM security, Black Hills. I'm trying to think of what else. What are the training? Those two are literally probably the two best, lowest cost, but best bang for your buck cybersecurity resources that you can find anywhere on any YouTube streets. I am telling you, it is just, they just put out so much great information. So yes, Wiredog is absolutely correct. TCM security and Black Hills Information Security. I think I'm gonna do my next stream on that, to just going down their catalog of resources and what you can learn. So yeah, very super valuable. Absolutely, yeah. Facts on Black Hills InfoSec for sure. Matthew said, welcome to the chat, Matthew. The reason I'm anti-office is because most of my team is working across the country. I might as well be remote. That's true. Going to the office costs too much gasoline and car maintenance. That's 100%. But many like they were saying earlier, and what I've also been seeing, a lot of organizations are starting to go back into the office. I know that with Goldman Sachs, they made their CEO even made a comment to saying we're all going back into the office, whether you're a tech worker, it don't even matter. Everybody going back into the office, and many organizations are just kind of going back to that thing. So I'm right there with you. I've been remote since 2017 or so. So a bit, several years before the pandemic. But I think the pandemic has exacerbated a lot of the remote roles where we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens because some organizations are still very open to it. And he says, I'm swamped with homework, but I even thought about buying a couple of the courses from TCM and Black Hill. Yeah, man. Especially TCM, man. Especially if you're looking to be some type of offensive like if you're a penetration tester or a red teamer, he has. But the thing about it is that go to the Cyber Mentor channel and literally the same stuff he has on the TCM Academy or TCM website that he has for sale is the same stuff that he has on his website. Sometimes he even releases courses on his YouTube channel for I just saw him. He released the Linux privilege escalation, and it's like 3 or 4 hours of training material. So I would say exhaust everything from the Cyber Mentor YouTube channel and then kind of fill in some gaps by going over to his paid stuff. So it's plenty of resources out there. So okay. We supposed to be talking about tech layoffs. I got probably maybe 15 or 20 more minutes. It looks like there's about 30 people in here right now. So thank you for coming through. Hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and subscribe and do all that, the YouTube-y stuff. But let's take a look at this. We talk about tech layoffs. And I think this person used to work at Microsoft. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. We're having some great conversations. So I don't feel bad about anything that we're talking about. But let's go ahead. I'm going to share this with you. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. Okay? Okay? Let's just take a look at this. Yo, what?
All done.
What is this?
I also have a water flosser. This makes me feel like I just came from the dentist. I use it after I floss.
Listen, I would, not to be insensitive, I would lay her off too, just for this video. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you? The name of the video is "I Got Laid Off." What are you doing? Let's look at it a little bit more. I'm gonna fast forward it a little bit as we going through. Like, what is you doing?
I use this one with floss. So I'm taking the ordinary glycolic acid toner.
What are we doing here?
Yesterday to kind of feel good. And
Ma'am.
I got to get a Celsius. Your energy to go to the gym. To go to the gym right now. Gym to me. I just take the bus.
What are we doing here?
At the gym.
Oh my gosh. What are you
this
doing?
Bubble.
We'll filter some.
Okay, hold up one second.
Is this eye?
I don't even think this is.
Taste test the eye.
Did you get laid?
Yeah.
Did she get laid off? Or we doing a day of the life of? I don't know. I think she live in New York or something. Like, what is this? Hold on one second.
I like moist eye.
It is Timkat in the Ethiopian Orthodox sad. So the hair.
We don't care.
So I recently got
Finally.
laid off by Microsoft.
Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike because she got Beyonce playing in the back. 1 second. I think it should be fine.
I was a program manager there for the mixed reality capture studios, which is basically there for the mixed reality capture studios.
Okay, so she was a program manager for Microsoft with the mixed reality studios. What is that? What is that? Microsoft Mixed Reality Studios. I think that's what she said. Mixed reality. Let's see. This doesn't. Oh, check this out. Microsoft Mixed Reality Capture Studio. And let me zoom in more so you all can see. Listen, Microsoft Mixed Reality Capture Studios closed. So she was a program manager for this part of Microsoft. And what did it do? Mixed Reality Capture Studios. And that's something that we were talking about earlier, is that if you are working on kind of niche, non-revenue associated products or environments within organizations that are temporarily closed, yeah, it makes sense that they wouldn't. It makes sense that your job would probably be in jeopardy during an economic downturn. Mixed Reality Capture Studios, we know that it's closed. So yeah, so that's kind of that. But she was also working in a program management capacity, program manager for this division of Microsoft that is no longer happening. So, that's something that I want to put out there, right? Look at where you are within an organization. If it's associated with revenue, if it's associated with something that is revenue generating. And I think that that's a good indicator of whether how your value is to that organization. Matthew said, I feel bad for tech layoffs, but if you get laid off from Fang or Manga, yeah, that's the new one. Meta, Apple, Netflix, Google, and Amazon. And you definitely have the interview skills for new roles. Absolutely. You definitely do. A lot of people are not staying unemployed for long periods of time. I think we looked at some of the Meta layoffs that people were like data scientists and data engineers or software engineers. And it actually had a connection to what their LinkedIn profiles are. I was seeing that people were moving on to new roles almost immediately. It said, oh, Google for a year and a half, different organization for about 2 months or so. So I don't think people are staying unemployed for long periods of time. Yeah, Wired Dog, she up there flossing her teeth and everything. That would later up. No, I'm just joking. This is all in jest. You said, Matthew said, he don't feel sorry for the day in the life. TikTokers, YouTubers, though, they made it look like they did nothing all day. Reflects poorly on the company. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Sounds some metaverse stuff. Absolutely. And that's some organizations double, triple, quadruple down on some technologies that didn't really take off like that. Like, when was the last time that you heard about the metaverse? Like, really? Like, did the metaverse really get adopted that much by organizations? I think there was this large influx of remote work and remote lifestyles that I think that's when Facebook just double, triple, quadruple down on the metaverse, saying that since people are already, remote and digital, these digital spaces are becoming so much more that we're going to just double down on metaverse. And I don't think it got adopted as heavily as they thought it would. May have something to do with HoloLens. Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. But this virtual reality and augmented reality, I think it's in its infancy still. Definitely think it's still in its infancy. Looks like it provided there it is. Augmented reality and virtual reality in the HoloLens. HoloLens. Atkins says, wake me up when these organizations are cutting 15 to 25% or more of their workforce and not 3 to 5. Yeah, true. I think that is not as alarming as everybody is making it out to be, especially seeing that it's just happening within big tech companies or large tech organizations. How is that transitioning over to other industries like defense contracting, like healthcare, like industrial or electric utilities? You're not seeing those same layoffs happening within other industries. But those other industries also have a lot of tech workers working within those organizations. So I think that's something that we see, or financial. Some financial organizations have done layoffs, but it hasn't been to the same degree as large tech companies. So I think you can still be a tech worker, be gainfully employed, even though big tech companies are laying off right now. The time when the stock took a nosedive. Yeah, man. Yeah, it definitely took a nosedive. I think you're talking about Meta. Meta was a lost cause from the jump. Corporations and fun don't mix. I don't want my job to feel like home. That's what my home is for. Absolutely. Like, I know that when I was onboarding for an organization, we onboarded in the metaverse because there were like 300 or 400 people onboarding at once, and they made like a metaverse, I guess, place where we were able to meet other employees, new people. It was kind of cool because it's like, okay, yeah, we're using the metaverse and everything, but at the same time, I'm like, all right, let me just take this virtual headset off, put this over here, let's put it over here to the side because I got other things that I'm gonna do, like take a nap because I was working from home so often. So I just don't think the adoption, especially the combination of the metaverse and home, really was like, yeah, it wasn't very attractive to me, at least. All opinion. I don't think Apple has done. No, they have not. Because you know why Apple hasn't done layoffs? And I think that there was a part of an article that I was reading about that. They were talking about how Apple doesn't do these mass hiring sprees for resources. So a lot of times, a lot of organizations mass hire a lot of companies or mass hire a lot of people in order to get ready for the influx of work happening. Apple doesn't do that. Apple primarily hires based upon a need, right? And I think it might also be because they know they can get anybody at any time. They're one of the highest paid. They're one of the most stable organizations. They have a very proven product. So, it can be difficult for other organizations to compete with Apple. So that brand recognition is so solid. So they don't do hiring the same way many other organizations, tech organizations do it. And I think that that's part of the reason why Apple has not done these mass layoffs. And also, who's not buying iPhones and iPads and MacBook Pros and MacBook Airs these days? I don't think they're taking that big of a dive in that. At least from the iPhone perspective, they own the phone game. So it's a little bit difficult to take a nosedive when people need you like that. Now, people don't necessarily need the metaverse. People don't necessarily need these fringe. They don't necessarily need the Microsoft mixed reality capture studios, right? They don't need this augmented virtual reality type of thing, but they do need their phones. Okay, so I think that's part of the reason why Apple has been doing so well. None of these people / TikTokers work on their skill sets. You should work on being a better each day, and that's a mindset. Absolutely, Gonzo. Absolutely, 100%. 100%. I absolutely agree with that. And Gonzo says, I agree, always working on developing in-demand skills. Let's go. So I think this is a great maybe pause point. I did have some more stuff about cybersecurity and the skill gaps there, or the necessity for cybersecurity roles, because, and maybe I'll just talk to it, because I think that organizations aren't doing as many so let me start off here. There are smaller organizations, smaller cybersecurity firms who are doing layoffs because in many cases they support a lot of these larger organizations, these tech organizations that are doing layoffs. So it's almost a trickle down effect. But as it concerns cybersecurity as a whole, I'm not seeing it as much as with big tech companies. So you can be a cybersecurity professional within like a big tech company, but you can also be a cybersecurity professional within many different types of organizations too. And the fact that cybersecurity is such a necessity for organizations, because the threats aren't stopping. The hacks are not stopping. I mean, we just hearing about LastPass getting hacked. We hear about Uber getting hacked. We hear about all these different organizations getting hacked. And what's so interesting is that after an incident, after a company gets hacked, is typically the time in which organizations mass hire for cybersecurity resources to bring on more and more people. So it's almost like insurance. Like cybersecurity is almost like an insurance division of most organizations, is that I need security professionals in place in the event that something bad happens from a cyber and digital perspective. So it's almost like you can't get rid of those people, especially in defense contracting. Like if you fire the defense contractors who are protecting the critical infrastructure of a whole nation, then you're leaving yourself wide open and vulnerable to nation state attacks, things that are coming from North Korea, from China, things that are coming from Russia. So you really can't get rid of those individuals. And how about auditing, right? Many organizations are under government regulations or under regulations in general, where they have to go through cybersecurity audits. So you think about, so I used to work in the nuclear field. So I used to work for a commercial nuclear plant. We have all different types of regulations from companies like, or from organizations like the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, where every, I think, year and a half or 2 years, every commercial nuclear plant has to go through a cybersecurity inspection. How can you let go of your cybersecurity staff at a commercial nuclear plant in the United States if you got an inspection coming up next week? You cannot do that. Or even financial organizations. There are all different types of applications that we use in order to manage our finances, even just on our phones. How can you let go of cybersecurity staff that are there patching these applications, upgrading things, dealing with your security operations within organizations? How can you let go of individuals that are protecting your customers from getting their money stolen? You cannot let go of these people just off the back. And how about in hospital systems and medical systems, right? You have very popular software like Epic, right? Or a very popular like products made by different companies that have internet connectivity. So a lot of times, maybe like your radiology machines or your IV pumps, these things are internet or digitally connected to some type of computer system. You need cybersecurity professionals in order to protect those devices so that people don't die. There was even years ago where there was some ransomware running rampant through hospital systems, and the cybersecurity staff were just increasing and increasing over and over again because many of these hospital systems were vulnerable. So you cannot fire cybersecurity staff in this time because you'll leave people vulnerable. So you're leaving. So you can't let go of cybersecurity people because you can't let money go from your customers. You can't let your critical infrastructure be at a vulnerable perspective. You can't let your people and their health be at a vulnerable perspective. So I wouldn't say cybersecurity professionals are completely safe from these tech layoffs, but I would say that they have way more of a necessity than somebody that might be working as a program product manager, a recruiter, in an HR capacity within their organization. So I say that those two things, if you're closer to the revenue, you're closer to that money generation, or if you're working in cybersecurity and you're protecting organizations and their business interests, then I think that you're a bit more safer from this tech layoff apocalypse. And I would like to say that, and let's see, have a couple of more comments, and then we're going to go ahead and close out. Let's see. I think they were onto something when Oculus, but putting a whole company's finances into a single product. Yeah, as wise as put. Yeah, man, that didn't make any sense. Everything on red in Vegas. Yeah, you gambling. Yeah, you gambling. Yeah, you pretty much throwing the dice and you checking to see if you win. If you win. Hey, what's up, Keep It Techie? Welcome to the chat, man. You said great point. Absolutely. I bet you were saying great point on the government piece, right? You were saying that. I know you are you work in the defense work, so I'm sure that you are protected to some degree, right? GRC assessment is a hidden gem. Absolutely. What does GRC stand for? Governance, regulatory, and compliance. These things are necessary for organizations to continue running. If you are not GRC, if you don't pass your different inspections, then you can get fines to your organization, right? So these are things that are very important. He said, what's up? Hey, what's up? Keep It Techie. Welcome. Like I said, it says also they are even further incentivized to have cyber staff because the huge fines, right? From breaches and being out of compliance. Absolutely. 100%. I know that some years ago, a large utility organization called Duke Energy, they have a very wide, I guess, portfolio of energy products and energy resources. They own plants, they own oil and gas environments, they own natural gas, like you name it, they own wind. They fell into some issues where they were not compliance from a regulatory perspective. And I think they were fined like hundreds of thousands, I think close to $1 million for some of the things where they were out of compliance. So this is very important. Cybersecurity compliance is extremely important to organizations for them to stay working. And absolutely, Atkins says, waking up with organizations are firing 15 to. So Atkins saying that, listen, I say it again, it is not a worry to him. It is not a worry to him until they get to that 15 to 25%. Thank you again, everybody, for coming through. Thank you again for coming through where we have discussed some of these tech layoffs, what some of these roles are, its application of cybersecurity. And we've had a whole bunch of conversation within the chat. Come back again for Struggle Security. We are normalizing struggling in cybersecurity. Thanks for coming through again, and hit the like button on your way out and subscribe too. if you want. Okay. See you all later.